Shalom, giving all praises to Yahawah by Sham Rawchaa by Qadash. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video, "And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth." Now, I'm gonna read this in the Greek. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the word is gay or gi, where you get the word geo. In other words, the word world as a whole is oikomeni, so it's synonymous with the word gi or geo, which is the whole earth. It says, and by the way, I'm reading out of Revelation 20 verse 8, because I'm going back to this thing that was taught this past weekend that the Bishop Nathaniel had went into, and we jumped on him because he was dead wrong. He wasn't taught, that wasn't taught at the main school, and him calling himself change it, the spirit wasn't with him at all. That's why it wasn't just, I didn't want to even deal with it. When Gabar heard it, Apostle Gabar said, I know you're going to do something. He said, I'm not even going to waste my time. I'm not going to even dignify it with a response. But there were so many of y'all diligent brothers in GMS, because if you didn't get the news, if you didn't get the memo, and you didn't do a video on it, the main brothers, the main men, I'll say brothers because we're brothers no matter what rank we are, they jumped on it. They jumped on it, man. And I said I wasn't going to deal with it because this is so beneath me, this silly breakdown, that I'm not going to deal with it. But you know, spirit gets on you and makes you do what you do. So you know, the men that did it, the diligent men that put their 2 cents in, not knocking anybody else, because if you're doing and all, I'm gonna say this again, the Apostle Paul said that ye all showed, I'm merely paraphrasing, that ye all show the same diligence. And Apostle Paul also said that ye all speak the same thing. In the book of Ephesians 4:11 on down, it speaks about the different ranks, for lack of a better term, like the apostles, the prophets, teachers, that we all, the Most High established these leadership roles for the sake of the rest of the body, so they can understand it. So that if you ask myself a question, then you go ahead and ask, let's say, one of the brothers or elders or whatever, and let's say LA, GMS, ask them the same question, they're supposed to give you the same answer, that we all speak the same thing. If there's a individual or individuals in GMS that believe that hell is a place that you burn, your spirit burns in forever, he's got to get, you don't just kick him out, but you got to correct him. You got to say, well, why are you teaching this? And don't teach it no more. And you look into his eyes, and if he might say, okay, I won't teach it no more, but teach it secretly, or I'm going to teach it, you guys are off. I said, well, wait a minute, then you have no business being around us, man. How can two that you all speak the same thing? How can two walk together except they be in agreement? Except they agree. Now, recently you had he was formerly High Priest Kazak, and he went on a couple of video YouTube pages. The last one was killer priest, which we remember him as Karamaya. He used to be in my camp. Like he speaks to people like he's never been an Israelite. He was an Israelite. He went out to camp and all that. He spoke, he read, but he ain't gonna tell you that. And he was in my camp along with Bishop Nathaniel. That now, look, Bishop Nathaniel wasn't teaching that bullshit back there because he would have got checked. He would have got checked. But he's teaching it now because there's nobody to correct him. You know, and I said this before, I sound like a broken record. You got these other bishops that's supposed to check him. No, you went off on that. Whether they do it in front of the class or they pull him to the side. So he did that. He did that presentation. It was like 3 hours in and changed, 4 hour plus video, and he totally and look, the scriptures speak about watchers. We are watchers, so we're watching everything. So when somebody even of another camp goes off, we're there to tell them, look, you just went off, man, because it affects us. Because they paint Israel with a broad brush. If one Israelite does something crazy, they'll say the Israelites. If one Western, especially Vocab Malone. So anyway, I have to go back to Revelation 20 and go through it again. So now, he said that this is talking about 1,000 years, because Revelation is not written in any particular order. Because if everything was written in particular order, then Yahawashi is going to come before 2nd Ezra 15 and 2nd Ezra 16. Because Yahawashi coming in a ship that looks like the size of a mountain, a huge mountain. That's in 2nd Ezra 13. So you can't say, oh, well, this is before this, so this is going to happen before that happens. Doesn't work that way. The same thing with the book of a Revelation. It jumps around. So the Spirit's got to guide you. Because he read the 4th verse, Revelation 20. And he said that's the kingdom of heaven, which it is. But then as you read down to the 7th, 8th verse, mainly the 8th verse, that comes after the 4th verse. The 8th verse comes after the 4th verse. So it must mean it's going to happen after the 1,000 years reign in the 4th verse. No, it does not mean that. And I'm going to break it to you. Break it down to you, excuse me. So it says here in Revelation 20 verse 8, then I'm going to go to Revelation 20 verse 1. That 1,000 years is after the dark ages, when we were in power and they did not have power. And then they came out of that dark age period through a thing called Renaissance. They must be loose for a little season, right? That's what this is talking about. And the 1,000 years is not talking about the 1,000-year reign of the Byzantine Empire. It's talking about the kingdom of heaven. But before the kingdom of heaven, we being glorified in the kingdom of heaven, the 1,000 years that the devil will be loose is this time. We're at the end. We're in the last few. We're in the closing months of this thing. So that's what it's talking about. It says, Revelation 20 verse 8 again, it shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. What does that mean? That means all the nations. So it's not just or the Gog and Magog. They're going to deceive the nations, deceive the nations. So all the nations are going to come up against us. Gog and Magog, to gather them, the other nations, the rest of the nations. So they're all going to rebel. They're going to say, we don't want to keep the laws no more. We don't want to work no more. We don't want to be slaves. We got to take these Israelites down. To gather them together to battle. That gathering together of the battle is getting ready to take place. That's the Armageddon. Because after the Gog and Magog goes down, it's not going to be no more. We're not going to call Edomites, well, you are Gogites, and you are no, you're going to be Edomites. To gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So that's talking about all the nations that are not Israel is going to come against us. That ain't talking about us. Talking about that. So let me do this. Let me go to Revelation 20. Now I got to go through this again. I'm not going to read the whole chapter. And a lot of these things that you read, especially in the prophetic books, especially in the book of Revelation, is parabolic, symbolic. Because it says in Revelation 6, it speaks about a white horse. That's talking about the Messiah coming back. We know he's not coming back in a horse. Horse just represents power. It also says in Revelation 19, it speaks about him coming back. Did he come back on a horse? Give me a second. I think it also says white horse. I'm positive, but I just want to check. Right, it says here, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. They're not coming in, they're not galloping on horses. Now, it was given to two men in white, which were angels talking to the apostles, saw him taken up into a cloud, and the angel said the way he left is the way he's coming in. Matthew 24 said he's coming back in the cloud. Let me go to that. And go to Matthew. I'm preaching to the choir again. This is basic stuff. Bishop Nathaniel has no business teaching this nonsense unless the Most High is not dealing with him. Let me see something. There it is, clouds, coming in the clouds of heaven. So in Revelation 6 it says he's coming on a horse. Revelation 19 he's coming on a horse. Ezra said he's coming on a mountain. In Matthew it said he's coming as a cloud. Acts 1 says he's coming as a cloud. So what is it? It's all parabolic. The cloud represents a gigantic so-called UFO. The horse in Revelation 6 and Revelation 19 is a gigantic UFO. Ezra saw it as what it was, but he described it as a mountain. There's a scripture in Isaiah, I believe it's Isaiah. No, I'm sorry, it's Zechariah, where it mentions mountain of iron. Let's go to that real quick. See, this is why these Christians can't get it, because this book is written in code. You don't read this book like you read a textbook. Or page 1, page 2. If you say, I'm going to jump to page 6, you're going to miss something. So you got to do it in order. The way these scriptures come out, precept upon precept, line upon line. And the scriptures, especially the prophecies, are written in, allegories, in code, in parables. Why speaketh to them in parables? Because it is not for them. It was not given to them, but given to you. To know the what? The mysteries, mysterion, of the kingdom. That's why these Kemetic guys can't get it. Most High didn't open up their mind, and they're going to be destroyed. Any of you Israelites that's going against what the scriptures say, you're going to be destroyed. So you can't look at this like a textbook, like I said. And that's how Bishop Nathaniel looked at it, like a textbook. He said, oh, wait a minute, prison is over here in pit in Isaiah 24, so it's got to be the same. Let me link these together. Then he goes into, and after 1,000 years, the Lord is going to tell us to let them go. So really that was about the Lord. Whatever happened to so we shall forever be with the Lord? Whatever happened to Revelation 21? And the Most High power, Yahawah, Yahawashi, will dwell among men. So Yahawashi is going to dwell among us in the spirit. We're going to be connected to the spiritual realm as a people. But Esau going to jump up and we're going to have our backs turned. Doesn't make sense. And he's not going to change it because he knows he done messed up. You know what I want to say. You know he done effed up. And pride won't allow him to come out with it. He had to admit that hell, the lake of fire, is America being shot by missiles and being on fire. It's not talking about hell, but yet and still they still have all kind of it. Don't take my word for it. Check it out for yourself. Be like the Church of Berea. Go to IUIC and put IUIC in hell and see videos that was put up maybe 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever, and see the most recent interview that he did in South Africa with that chick, and he said it. So he didn't say, oh, your spirit. He said, hell is not like it is in Christianity, but that's the way y'all taught it in the past, and you still got them videos up. So how the hell are you in order? And this is why you change it, because had we not put up them videos, you would have still been teaching that it's your soul burning in hell, and Israelites are going to burn in hell forever. Because no other camp was going to correct you. We're the only ones that correct you. Okay, so where am I? Okay, I wanted to go to Revelation. Let me come on back to Revelation 20. What does Hebrews 5:12 said? Ye have need that one teach you again. Right? You got to go back to the milk. Revelation 20. And I may even go into the NLT, see what that says. There was happening over there in the Middle East is a genocide. They don't give a damn about babies. It's a genocide, and the first casualty of war is the truth. So one group is using lies instead of truth to justify what they're doing. This is terrible, and this is leading to Revelation 20 verse 7 and 8. I'm drinking this cleanser, detox. So let's go back to it. So we're back to the basics again. First verse, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the keys of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. By the way, it was not a physical chain, it was a spiritual chain. The fact that Esau is over us is a spiritual chain. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. When did that happen? That happened during the Dark Ages. Now it said 1,000 years. Now check this out. It said the Dark Ages in Europe. Dark Ages is code for we were ruling. Dark people were ruling. Dark meaning a dark time. For who? For Esau. Because what empire did they rule before the Dark Ages? The Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was taken over by Israel. And it did not happen in 193 AD with Septimius Severus. It happened with Nerva. He came after, and I keep saying that, he came after the younger brother of Titus. Nerva came in 96 AD, and I forget how many years he ruled. And then you had a succession of emperors, and they were all Jake. Matter of fact, I believe he was considered one of the 5 good emperors. And why was he considered good among the other 5? Another one was matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Let me do this here. The 5 good emperors of Rome. These were Jakes. The 5 good emperors were Nerva. Didn't I say Nerva? Trajan, he was also a Jake. Hadrian, a Jake. Antonius Pius, pious meaning humble, righteous. And Marcus Aurelius. You remember Marcus Aurelius from the movie The Gladiator. He had a son named Commodus. They created a time of prosperity for the Roman Empire. They were helping Jake and anybody that was a part of the empire. They were doing good. That's when Jake came in. As soon as Jake came in, hey, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Who was ruling before that? The Romans. Let me see this. Who was considered the best Roman emperor? And it better not be Nero, Augustus Caesar. And remember, you had Jakes that was in high positions, positions of rulership. The centurion that the Lord healed his servant. So the Lord wasn't against slaves. He wasn't against that. If you legally got a servant, you can have a servant. He wasn't against. He said, "Why I'm not going to heal him." He said, "Please heal my servant so he can work. He's sick. Please heal him so he can keep working for me." That's slavery. That's servitude. Who was the last good Roman Empire? That was Marcus Aurelius. So you had Gazak mentioned when he did the interview with. I'm all over the place, but I'm gonna get back in the middle. He had mentioned on Karamaya show, Killer Priest show, that he mentioned Septimius Severus 193 AD. That's what they found out back years ago, back in the 90s. The first Jake ruler, and there was one Jake ruler. There was another one. I believe that was Otho or Galba. If you look up busts of Otho and Galba, they took a lot of them down. But if you search hard enough, there's one bust of him, of either, I think it was Galba. That's another class. And you can see he has Jake features. Another thing, these emperors didn't have beards. When Jake ruled, they had beards. There were maybe a couple of them that didn't. Like Marcus Aurelius, he had a full beard. He was a Jake. He was a stoic. He wasn't into riches and living a glorious life. He was a stoic. He was a disciplinarian. So he lived no different than a poor man getting by. A lot of these super rich Edomites, they live out in the woods. They go mountain climbing. They live that hard life, man. They got that money, but they drive regular cars. They don't wear jewelry. The riches come for their women, to keep their women. Women like riches, man. Men can live with the bare essentials. Please forgive me. Marcus Aurelius, the last good. And they betrayed him. They had this guy, what was his name? He played in the movie A Man Called Horse. Harris. Which he might be a Jake. Might be. Was Nerva a good or bad emperor? Historians believe Nerva was a wise and fair emperor. Not like Esau. It was during Nerva's reign that the custom of selecting the best heir to be emperor began. He is credited for the peaceful transition of power to Trajan, which was another Jake. And a lot of them were closely related as his successor before his death. A rich Roman emperor killed Jesus. Tiberius, that was during his reign. He didn't kill him. Who was the most like Roman emperor? Look at that. The 5 good emperors. Nerva, he reigned for 2 years. Trajan, almost 10 years. Trajan, Hadrian, who was emperor from, so he goes 18, almost 20 years. Antonius Pius, who reigned about 20, a little bit more than 20 years. And Marcus Aurelius, almost 20 years. And they die, you know. So they lived to be, some of them lived to be 80. Notice right here, I believe that's Marcus. You see the beard? See the hair? This is Nerva. He looked kind of like a little bit like, his facial structure looked kind of like a Karatazar a little bit. If you look, See how they have like fuller faces? But they're Edomites. They got him looking like an Edomite. The real bust are Jake's. So anyway, please forgive me. So let me tell you about, let me show you the 1,000 years. I'm not telling you about when the 1,000 years happened. I'm showing you. It said the Dark Ages in Europe occurred between 500. Actually, it was 325, but Esau was still kind of in power. They were kind of losing power. That's how kingdoms go down and other kingdoms come up. The U.S. is going down. You got the BRIC nations. And you got the BRIC nations. You got all these alliances, Russia, China, that are going against NATO and the EU, which includes America. So America's not down and out, but it's going down. The sun is going down on this place. So the same thing happened with the Roman Empire. You had Jake filling positions. Alexander, I always forget his name. Julius Alexander, Julius Alexander, I forget his third name. Julius Alexander, let me do this. Bear me for a minute. Julius Alexander of the Roman Empire. Tiberius Julius Alexander. Tiberius Julius Alexander. And I believe that's this guy, Austin, the Secretary of Defense. So this guy, Biden, he's one of them emperors, man. One of them Edomite emperors. Tiberius Julius Alexander. And he rose up over the Senate. He was a Senate. They should tell you that. And he rose up to be a council. A council is one step before a Roman emperor. So he could have been, he was, look, the prophecy had to be fulfilled that of Vespasian, Titus, Domitian, really Vespasian, Titus. But this guy could have been the emperor. He was the one that won the war. He was the one that sieged Jerusalem. He was successful for it. But Titus took the credit for it. So he could have very well been, if he wasn't loyal to the emperor, to Vespasian, he could have very well been the new emperor. And by the way, most of them emperors of Rome were part of the Praetorian Guard. They were high up officers over legions. All right, and that whole concept of a legion goes back to Esau when he had his armies. He had to say, I forget where the research is. I'll do it another time. But it shows you that Esau had legions, and they would have horsemen, they would have footmen. They would have about 600 horsemen, and the rest of them were footmen. That's what Esau did. That's where Rome got it from. They got it from Esau, which they are the Edomites. They're the descendants of the Edomites. So all this truth is coming together. This is the lie that this man's been hiding, and we uncovered it, man. So you got to know that history, man. Oh, let me check this. What religion was Tiberius? Tiberius Julius Alexander. Oh my goodness. His wait a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. This is Tiberius. Tiberius, not Tiberius Julius Alexander. His prowess of his profession provoked the jealousy of the Roman Emperor Commodus. There is a possibility that lion hunting was a royal or imperial activity. Is this the same Tiberius Julius Alexander? Let me click on that. Okay, this is a different Julius Alexander. That was a common name. But he could have very well been the emperor, but prophecy had to take place. The Flavian dynasty had to be in power. That's the only reason why he didn't become emperor. And like I said, the Praetorian Guard, most of these, damn near all of them that was put to death by the Praetorian Guard. And most of the Caesars were Praetorian Guard. They were generals. You know, they were commanders. You know, heads over legions. You got people in the military that become presidents, right? You had Colin Powell. They wanted him to be president some years ago, and he came up in the military ranks. So this is more further proof that this is Rome all over again. And the fact that you got this guy, whatever his name is, Austin, the Secretary of the Defense, he's in a high up position, and he's well respected among them Edomites, man. Colin Powell, another one. So they had to be back there during that time period. So I'm going into a Roman, and the Roman Empire is so vast, but you got to know it. So anyway, let's come back over here, right? I'm sorry, Dark Ages. Let's come back to the Dark Ages. It says the Dark Ages. So we're reading a Revelation. Basically, we're giving you the understanding of Revelation chapter 20, the first couple of verses. The Dark Ages in Europe occurred between 500 CE and 1000 CE, or 500 to 1500. That's 1,000 years. That's 1,000 years. And the Most High does not deal with exact numbers. That's 1,000 years. Esau is fully, our foot was fully up in his ass around 500 CE. And when we started to go down was really the 1400s. That's when Esau started coming up. Remember, when kingdoms go down, other kingdoms are coming up, and it doesn't happen overnight. You see this, when you go back to Israel, the Israelites, our foreparents, in the wilderness for 40 years, when they came out, the first nation that was concerned about them coming out as an army was the king of Moab. That's why he put a curse on them, because he said they're going to take shit over. They're going to take my kingdom over. They're going to take Ammon's kingdom over. They taking shit over. So he said to Balaam, put a curse on these people. By the way, the Israelites killed Balaam. If you want to know what happened, or whatever happened to Balaam, the Israelites came against the Midianites and killed him. He was a chief guy. Most High opened up his eyes to see now. He saw the destruction. He saw all the way up until this point of time that we're in. Because that's what he told Barak, the king of Moab. He said, let me tell you what these people are going to do. You want to curse them? Let me tell you what these people are going to do in the latter days. They're going to beat the shit out of you and your people and everybody around. All these regions, they're going to destroy. And this is getting ready to happen. So hang on, brothers and sisters. So this is what? There's your 1,000 years, right? Or 500 to 1500. That's 1,000 years. A.D. The term Dark Ages was coined by the scholar Petrarch during the Renaissance. This time period began after the fall of the Western Roman Empire. You had one Roman Empire, then you had a Western Roman Empire and an Eastern Roman Empire. The Western Roman Empire was during the time period of Esau and his dying empire. The Eastern Roman Empire was what? That was Jake. So the Western Roman Empire died completely and the Eastern Roman Empire was in power. Which translates into the Byzantine Empire. Because remember, Constantine the Great was a Roman emperor and a holy father, a church father. They merged the empire with religion, with Christianity. So now let me come over here to Eastern Roman Empire. When you see there, you see icons, right? It says citizens of the Byzantine Empire. That's the Eastern Roman, aka the Eastern Roman Empire. That's when Jake was ruling. As Jake was coming up, I'm going to say this again. As Jake was coming up into power, Esau was going down in power. No different than in the boxing world. You got a world champion. He's kind of old. He kind of looked bad. He didn't look that good in his last 2 or 3 fights. He's getting old. He's up in age. He's 38. Then you got the young guy that's 20 years old. He's knocking everybody out. The old champion is going to do everything that he can to avoid this guy. Because he knows if they get into the ring, he said, if I was 20 years old, I'd beat this guy. But because I'm almost 40, I can't beat this guy. Same thing. This man is going down. You can see this man. You can see kinks in the armor of this man. Part iron and part miry clay. You can see kinks in the armor. If y'all want to take a break, take a break. Citizens of the Byzantine Empire, and we know that that's Jake. The Byzantine Empire, from the first emperor to the last, when Jake started going down, who took over? Esau. Esau started coming up into power. They had to take down the Moors. The last stronghold of the Moors was Granada. What the exact year was 14 something. And then they had to take down, it was the Turks, which were Edomites, which embraced the religion of Islam, took down the Christian empire. So they were Edomites. And the power didn't come from Rome, the power came from Spain. Then the power went from Spain to Great Britain. Then from Great Britain to America. Citizens of the Byzantine Empire strongly identified as Christians. Christians is code for what? Israelites. Just as they identified as Romans, because we were in the region of Rome. Emperors seeking to unite their realm under one faith, recognized Christianity as the state religion, and endowed the church with political and legal power. So if you go to images, you can see how they whitewash these images, but these are icons which were dark people. They did a thing called iconoclasm. Like here, okay, you can see the guy's Jake, but he's light. Look at this. They lighten him up. But you look at the hair. It's not straight here. Esau's not in the beards, man. That's just a straight up fact. See? Western Roman Empire, Eastern Roman Empire. We ruled all this over here and expanded. A symbol of the Roman Empire was that eagle with the crown on. That was when Jake was ruling. And you had the two heads. The two heads represent watching over, being watchmen over the east and over the west. So we took this man down. Let's do this. You can't deny this. The four tetrarchs. That's not what I want. This is what I want. 300 CE. So this was before Constantine the Great sat on the throne. You had four that ruled. West and East, Maximian, Diocletian, Gorilius, and Constantius, which is the father of Constantine the First. So out of these four became one ruler, and you can clearly see that they're Jake. Singing to the choir. Look at the nose. This he looked just like Ash from the HODC. Looked just like Ash. You can see that the nose is clearly cut off. His nose is cut off. His nose is cut off. His nose is cut off. You can see the fingers are kind of. You can see the shape of their head. That's Jake. That's when Jake was ruling. That's when Esau was out of there. Let me come on back. Okay, so now let's go back to Revelation 20. And I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit, which represents Europe, and a chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent. That shows you that the serpent in the garden was talking about Esau, which was a man, which represented a man's spirit, which is the devil, covering all the names, and Satan. Devil is diabolos, which means false accuser, a slanderer. Like Vocab Malone is a devil because he's a false accuser. He's saying that we're not the people, and bound him 1,000 years. We read about the 1,000 years. Let me go back, just in case Bishop Nate is watching this. Let me see something. That's 1,000 years. That's exactly 1,000 years. I'm sorry, let me do it this way. Or from 500 to 1,500. That's your 1,000 years. It wasn't dark for us, it was dark for them. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. You want to give more of exact date? From 500 AD to 1500 AD. Or from 325 AD to about what is it, 325 AD to 1350 AD. Because we started going down and they started coming up. And that's how kingdoms get taken out. Except for the pagan Babylonian kingdom. That was a surgical strike. Third verse. And cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him. Just like there's a seal on us. Well, we can't take this man over. We can't take this. You're stupid if you're going to take this man over. Spartacus couldn't take this kingdom over because the Most High put the spirit on the Roman Empire to rule for a certain amount of time, which number he can't go past. Job, that he should deceive the nations no more. So how did he deceive them? By the Roman rule. You got to do what we say do till 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loose a little season. That little season is right now, ladies and gentlemen, which is about 500 years. So he's really, living on borrowed time. This right here is talking about the kingdom. The mark on the forehead did not take place in the Roman Empire. This is talking about now. But what's going to happen to these people that endure this, that don't take the mark? They're going to reign 1,000 years. And the people that don't make it among Israel, they're going to come back to us. What scripture proves that? What is that? Matthews 27 and 19? Or is it 19 and 27? Let me go to that. Matthews 27. Let's try this at 19. Or vice versa. I'm sorry, 19. Matthew 19, verse 27. Let's see what that says. Then answered Peter, behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we see thereof? And as you read down, right, that's talking about the kingdom, right? It says we're going to rule over the 12 tribes. So them people that died, they're going to come back. And it says, and everyone that have forsaken houses or brother and father, wife, children, or lands for my sake shall receive what? 100, receive your family back. So if they die, let's say you got family members that died, your son or whatever. He took the chip, he dies, he's going to come back through you. Your cousins, your uncles, your grandfather, your father, whatever. So ain't no Israelite going to burn in no mystical hell. Let's come on back. Back to the basics. So what is this talking about? This is talking about us being in the kingdom. The saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess it forever. So we're going to rule for more than 1,000 years. But we're going to destroy Esau in that end of that 1,000 years. We're going to burn him up. There it says, neither had received his mark upon his forehead. That's talking about the charagma. So this is yet to happen. The rest of the dead is also talking about the other nations too. Because we're going to give them a break after 1,000 years. They're still going to be up under us. But they're going to have their lands back. And they're going to bow down to us. Right, the second death is talking about what? What's the first death? It's the flood. The second death is fire. Peter said that. The apostle Peter said that. Satan freed and doomed. And when 1,000 years are expired, what 1,000 years? This 1,000 years. Satan, the dragon, the serpent, the devil, that old serpent, Satan, physical counterpart to the spiritual demon Satan, and shall go out to deceive the nations again, like they did when they had rule over us in the Roman Empire, which are in the four quarters of the earth. That means they're going to gather all the nations together, all these nations, the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Canaan, all of them is going to gather together under Esau, and they're going to call themselves Gog and Magog. That's talking about in our time, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth. You see what's happening now in Palestine. Something's going to happen. All this wars and fire and destruction and death. You notice it's happening in the Middle East. These Middle Eastern nations, these Arab nations, they're condemning what the Israeli military is doing. So they're going to take action after a while. Because babies are getting killed in this thing. Old women, old men, grandmothers, grandfathers, pregnant women, young men, teenagers. This is a genocide. And when they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints is the land about. And are there Israelites in that land? Yes, they are. And the beloved city is Palestine, Jerusalem. Revelation 21 speaks about a new Jerusalem coming from heaven. It's a people before it's a place, but it's also a place. And fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them. That's getting ready to happen. The missiles. It's not talking about, well, this is going to be 1,000 years after we go in the kingdom. 1,000 years. This is going to. No, he was dead wrong. And the devil that deceived them, who's the devil, was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. Well, wait a minute. Are there two lakes of fire, Bishop Nathaniel? Are there two lakes of fire? Because that devil is also a.k.a. Gog and Magog. All this is going to happen in our lifetime. And coming, we counting down the months. And the devil, which consists of Gog and Magog, Edomites, NATO and the EU, Canada and America, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire. Now you said it yourself. That's America on fire from the missiles, which Gog is going to shoot on them. Where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. Tormented day and night meaning they're going to burn, and it's going to seem like the burn is going to go on forever, but the torment is talking about when we get them in captivity. We're going to be harsh on them. A rod of iron, Revelation 2 verse 25 and 26. So there ain't going to be no 1,000 years. Esau is just going to gather all the nations come up against us. Stop it. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom. I went long. Please forgive me.